Hi everyone, this is Dragon GJY. Welcome to the very first episode of a brand new series that I'm trying out. This is Operator Hindsight. The series aims to introduce an upcoming operator for global, which would usually have been a thing for CN 6 months ago. I will analyze based on CN player base's perception of the operator, covering things like situation where they were used or even had a highlight in, the most used skills, or if they get a module that released over this 6 months. In the end, I will provide a personal take on pull and build priority with all the upcoming banners in mind. Hopefully this will be of help, and let's kickstart the series with our first operator. Today we'll talk about Executor Alter, officially known as Executor the Foedere. I will just call him Exalt from here on. Exalt is a 6-star Reaper Guard operator. Archetype trait, cannot be healed by allies, deals AoE damage, meaning they can hit as many enemies there are in range. Heals 50 HP for every enemy hit up to block count, which is 2 by default. So you can hit every enemy in range, but you only trigger healing twice max for each hit. That changes with block count though. Talent 1, when attacking, has a 23% chance to attack a second time. During skill duration, the chance increases by 5% for every ammo consumed. The chance resets when the skill ends. This is the core talent for Exalt, as all of his skills are ammo-based type. You can tell if he triggered the talent in a few ways. First of all, he actually quickly pulls out his other rifle on a double hit, but it is barely noticeable because it's kind of fast in double speed. Secondly, on an ordinary hit, the game plays a rather blunt sound effects, but on a double hit, it becomes a sharper, blast-like sound effect. Finally, you can also tell from the healing digit above him. If twice the amount of healing instances popped, then it indicates a double hit. When doing double hit, Exalt also received 2 times the healing from his talent. During skills, triggering double hit will not consume extra ammo. During off skill, double hit will give Exalt 1 extra SP for 1 attack, which is very crucial since all of his skills are attack recovery. This is a very strong talent, squeezing 2 attacks into 1 without spending ammo, giving him double damage and healing on triggers, increasing skill total damage potential, and speeding up his skill cycles. Arguably, this is one of the best talents for recent 6-star operators, highly tied to the kit of Executor and the trait for Reaper Guard. The problem for this talent is that the build-up for the double hit chance is rather slow. By calculation, double hit is only guaranteed starting on the 17th ammo, which is rather late considering his 3 skills have 9, 13, 17 ammo respectively. This talent does get a significant improvement with module, which we will cover later. Talent 2, for every Laterano operator deployed, the maximum ammo of skills plus 1 stacks up to 4 times. There are currently 12 Laterano operators in the game. Notably, Exia and Anakil belongs to Penguin Logistics and Rose Islands respectively and are not effective for this talent. Since Exalt himself is also a Laterano operator, this talent means that at least 1 extra ammo can be guaranteed. At first glance, this seems like an absolute filler talent, but if you look at skill 3 for example, that would translate to at least 1 more ammo, the guaranteed double hit 17th ammo, and a total of 6,000 plus damage increase for skill 3. So for every extra Laterano deployed, it's gonna be an extra 6,000 plus damage, which is okay, at least better than Chen Alter's attack speed plus talent. The talent takes effect when skills are activated, so Laterano operators only needs to be deployed at skill activation for extra ammo, which means you can't increase ammo by deploying Laterano ops afterwards, nor will the ammo be deducted if you retreat them after skill activation. Exalt receives his first module 2 months after his release, which for global is expected to be the patch on 4th anniversary, the 2023 summer event for CN. The module base effect increases the healing amount from 50 to 60. Upgrades improved Exalt's Talent 1, the core talent, increasing the initial double hit chance by 15%, which is equivalent to 3 ammo consumption, making the guaranteed bullet start from 14th instead of the 17th. He will also ignore 300 defense from the enemy for his second attack. The module as a whole greatly improved the experience of using him since it packed up survival, damage, and skill recycling all together. I had a full showcase for this module. You can click the pop-up right now or find the link in the description below for more details. If I rate Exalt a tier B+ guard pre-module, I would say this module brings him to tier A. For skills, I have an overview for skill recommendation, which is Skill 3 Mastery 3 over Skill 2 Mastery 3, and I don't recommend the Mastery for Skill 1. Skill 1, attack range expands into spread shooter range, attack plus 50% and ignores 400 defense, a 0/8 attack recovery auto trigger skill with 9 bullets. At first glance, it seems to be a nice AFK skill with defense ignore, but the attack modifier is just too little. If you do the maths, this is basically a slightly worse version of attack plus 100%, namely attack up gamma. Compared to the power strike skill ones for the 5-star Reapers, this skill is also less of an AFK skill as it has a longer downtime in the cycle. Also, if you compare these skills to Blaze's skill 2, who will also get her module at the same patch, this skill is nowhere near its level of DPS and DPH. So my recommendation, level 7, is enough. Skill 2, attack plus 80%, defense plus 80%, block plus 1, and has a 40% chance to dodge the attack and replenish 1 ammo when receiving an enemy's melee attack. This is a 6/12 attack recovery manual trigger skill with 13 bullets. First, for the dodge and ammo replenish, only the dodge from Exalt himself can trigger ammo replenish. Dodge provided by relics or other teammates will not do. Good news is, when the game is trying to determine whether he dodged or not, it will always go through Exalt's own dodge first as it has a higher priority. So the game makes sure to reward him when he actually dodges by himself. Now, despite the skill set's melee attack, the game has a pretty chaotic rule of determining melee and ranged attacks. The closest description would be non-projectile damage with a traceable damage source. For example, he can dodge the true damage from the Sarkaz altars, but not the environmental damage from toxic mist stages. He can also dodge the corruption damage from the Sarkaz Wither tank when they're still alive, but can't dodge the same damage from the ones left behind by Sarkaz Witherers. One more thing, he can still replenish ammo when he's down to 0 ammo, but when the skill hasn't ended. Exalt becomes quite tanky with this skill on. Additional block count makes it so that he can recover 3 instances of HP from an attack during the skill. The defense boost and dodge also helps. The faster enemies hit, the more bullets Exalt gets. From replenishing ammo, Exalt can actually consume more than 13 ammo during the same skill. So the more ammo he gets from dodging these attacks, the more efficient he becomes with the damage output and extra healing from guaranteed double hits. Downside to this skill is that Exalt is very weak against ranged arts attacks. Without range expansion, Exalt has a harder time getting healing from hitting these ranged enemies. But I guess that's fair because you want to block enemies to benefit from the dodge and ammo replenish. Also, the DPH from this skill is quite weak, especially towards enemies with 1000+ defense. The survivability difference between skill on and skill off is also massive, so if he's handling high threat enemies and runs out of ammo, he can fall really fast. All in all, this skill is a quite unique lane holder skill that fares better against aggressive enemies instead of the more defensive ones, and can be a viable pick that recycles faster. For daily use, I can see players switching between skill 2 and skill 3. So for recommendation, the dodge chance increased to 40% for Mastery 3, which is massive. If you use him quite a lot, I would recommend Mastery 3 for skill 2. Skill 3, attack interval increases by 0.5 seconds into 1.8 seconds. Attack range expands into spread shooter range again. Attack plus 180% and additionally plus 6% for each ammo consumed up to 30 stacks. And HP recovery from trade effect increases to 3 times. When skill ends, deals 250% of attack as physical damage to targets attacked during skill duration. This is a 12/24 attack recovery manual trigger skill with 17 bullets. We talked about how Exalt's other skills do not have very high DPH, which is in line with the impression for Reaper Guards, but that was up until this point. Skill 3 gives Exalt very high attack status that goes even higher as the skill go on. His attack interval is increased as a balance, but since Exalt's sustain is tied to his attacks, he's also given triple healing as compensation. The damage from the ending slash at the end of the skill is dependent on Exalt's attack stat when the skill ends, so the more ammo he has used before ending the skill, the higher the damage. Also, one trick here, there is a 1 second delay before the ending animation after Exalt uses up all the ammo. If you manually end the skill immediately after the final bullet, you can skip the delay. Obviously, with this skill, Exalt will be able to tackle high defense enemies with DPH ranging from 2-4,000 plus to 3-4,000 plus ultimately, which is AoE as well. With our module, skill 3 has an expected total damage of 82,059 and 94,275 with module. This is damage over the course of 30 plus seconds, which is decent by today's standards. So let's take a look at Exalt's flaws with this skill, or even his kit as a whole. First of all, the combination of backloaded damage and ammo-based skills. I've talked about this in various scenarios. Basically, damage and sustain balance is a paradox in Archetype. As we say, offense is the best defense. Backloaded damage means that your enemies survive longer than they should have been to threaten you longer. Exalt skill 3 is a classic backloaded damage pattern. Although ammo mechanism can sort of prevent the loss of damage, it is not always easy to time the highest damaging ammo for the high threat enemies. Don't forget, Exalt is an amity operator with just 2.5k HP, 550 defense, and no arts resistance. The fact that he also has a short attack range while having to rely completely on attacks for sustain adds to the problem even more. Also, this design leads to a dilemma where you may have been left with the last few bullets after one wave of enemies. If you stop the skill there, you lose quite a lot of your potential damage, and as a result of attack recovery skill, you don't recover SP during this window. If you keep the bullets, you may just blast those ammo onto the 1 or 2 grunts that come one by one next wave, and by the time the big wave comes, you are caught with the skill down. So that leads to another problem, which is the combination of attack recovery skills and the short-handed Reaper Guard. You may have experienced how it feels to use Swarm Masters without chain, no enemies, no skills. With Exalt, even with the double hit chance from Talent 1, he still needs an expectation of 20 hits for the 24 SP skill or 18 with module, which is 25 seconds and 20.7 seconds respectively. That is when he has someone to shoot at all times. In my opinion, those are the two big problems with this skill, and they compromise the experience of using Exalt in daily content enormously. The more obvious issue is that a lot of you may have discussed is the fact that the 30 stack attack bonus is currently impossible in the game, since there is a cap to ammo increase from his talent 2. Currently, the max stack possible is 16 plus 4 plus 1, which is 21. People speculated that it might be made possible by future modules, relics, or other mechanisms in the game, but that has yet to happen in the 6 months following his release. But to me, this is not really the key problem for Exalt, and I would say that if his second module does make the 30 stack possible, it might still not be as effective as the one we're seeing right now, because damage is the least of his concern. Initially at his release, players paired him a lot with Sculptor and Stainless. Executor will be able to provide the crucial passive healing and defense for Exalt, but the attack bonus is heavily diluted by the already high attack stat for skill 3. Stainless skill 3 turret is an excellent way to help Exalt get his skill up, but once Exalt has his skill up, it kind of becomes an anti-synergy. Spending the bullets on the turrets become kind of a waste, nor is it very efficient in commanding those turrets. But after Exalt get his incredible module in summer, he has been much more reliable on his own. We talked about his two big problems, and the module helped to ease both of them. Another reason for his climbing reception is the increasing amount of deployable or stage devices that can be taken advantage of as a means to help charging his skill, as well as some needs for AoE high DPH, mainly in chapter 13. This includes the drink bottle in August, the radiation tower in September, the moving cargo, as well as the tons of sanguine narcs creation in chapter 13, then the portal thingy in November. These are all positive gimmicks for Exalt and attack recovery ops. Exalt now holds the 2 operator clear record for both H13-4 and ZTS-5. To wrap up, Exalt is a self-sustainable 6-star Reaper Guard who has DPH and total damage number way beyond the lower rarity members. Of all the lane holder options, he is the standout candidate who can hold down a lane with aggressive enemies with skill 2 or defensive enemies with skill 3, all on his own. His main problem lies in the fact that he is a short-handed ground unit loaded with 3 attack recovery skills, which affects his skill cycling, which is directly linked to his survivability. Luckily, the module that he will be getting 2 months after his release is gonna help with that issue, and he is in a pretty good spot afterwards. Here's my assessment for his impact on gameplay. 5 for daily and 5 for advanced contents. Daily refers to contents like standard event stages, annihilations, or just use trimmed metal levels of gameplay as a rule of thumb. Advanced refers to higher end content like high difficulty CC, IS, and other self-limiting clears like niche nights or low operator count runs. 5 for daily because on the plus side, he is the true definition of a lane holder. In the right situations, he just solo takes down the whole lane without any supports. The minus part to this is that when you're new to the stage, the experience of using him may not be pleasant. You have no idea what the enemies are or how and when are they coming. That with his kit makes it a nightmare to manage his skill. Again, you shut it down early, you may not get the skill again in time and waste some high value ammo. If you don't shut it early, you might blast the last few bullets onto that 1 or 2 mobs at the start of the next wave. This is especially true without module. 5 for advanced content because he is very good in low ops count runs. Reason is the same as in daily, but when it comes to harder challenges where enemies are much more bloated and operators are even weaker, Exalt as an enmity is very vulnerable in these circumstances. Not being able to get support and die quickly, reduced attack speed so that SP and healing are both slower. Those are the things that keep him off from the gate to high-end contents. This is my final assessment for pool recommendation in the coming 6 months. Keep in mind that this is a general reference. Operators all serve different purposes, so the ratings being high or low in this graph is just a rough reflection of their impact to gameplay. That could be damage-wise, support-wise, or perhaps having their unique mechanism that does make sense. I also have this list of these operators being summarized and rated in the same system as reference. But as this is an analysis on Exalt, the video will not go into details for all of them. It is also possible that I change them in the future operator hindsights, because that's basically how this series works. That's gonna be it for this episode. The video takes a ton of time to make. I have to write the script, get the footage, make the visuals, etc. So your feedback and support to this format is very important for me going forward. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.